everybody, and welcome back to Inspired by K Swan, where we are celebrating Women's History Month all month long. And so, without further ado, I don't like to prolong the situation. I have a special guest. I'm bringing some of my friends on so we can just talk about being a woman and life as a woman in this here world. All right, so today I have a special guest. Her name is Sherelle Gilbert. Hello,
Hey,
Sherelle, how are you?
I'm good. I am doing great. I am
So
chilling.
today,
As you can see, I'm on the floor, so I'm chilling.
listen, a lot of those chill days is great. Okay. So today my guest is Sherelle Gilbert of She Experienced. And so Sherelle, just a little bit, tell us who you are, what She Experienced is, and then we'll just get into our little chat.
Awesome. So again, my name is Sherelle Gilbert. I am by day a social worker. I serve as a family advocate and victim advocacy trainer at the National Children's Advocacy Center. And any other time, I don't want to just say by night because it's also just encompassed in everything I do, but I am a blogger, small business owner. The name of my company, my blog is She Experienced. And basically, it is my avenue where I share different things that I go through in life with others in hopes to inspire and encourage and empower. I share it via my blog. I have e-devotionals that I send out weekly. I have merch. So yes, I do all the things. That is She Experienced.
Yes, it is so beautiful to watch and see. And I'll just say, like, I feel like we are a lot alike in a lot of different areas, right?
Mhm.
So we met a few years ago.
Yes.
I think officially met, like
Yes.
life, a
Yes.
few years ago at church where we were involved in a mentoring program at church. So
Yes.
that we have in common. We're both introverts.
Right. Yes.
Which is why, like, when I did my intro, it's quick and to the point.
Right.
Small talk. I'm just not. Let's just get right into it. We're both social workers.
Yes.
So happy Social Work Month as well.
Happy Social Work Month.
Yes. Another thing I know that we share in common, unfortunately, is that we both dealt with self-esteem issues.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah. Well, praise the Lord, I've overcome.
Same here.
Yes. Okay. So I also feel it's important that as we share, the things that we go through, that it does inspire other people to live the best life that they want to live. And it's wonderful to see people when they do share, you realize you have things in common and you realize you're not alone. And so it just makes your journey, a little bit better.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it's Women's History Month. And so the premise for Women's History Month is to commemorate women in history and their contributions to society and to the world, right? And so I just wanted to bring on some of my friends from time to time and just talk about your own personal journey, like as a woman. First of all, let's go back. Let's talk about like lessons from 2020. We can't just skip over that. I know we want to.
Oh man.
But like what in the last, because we've almost been in quarantine probably about a year. Like
Seriously.
Coming up. And maybe in about two weeks or so.
Yes.
It would be like
2 weeks, it will be a year.
One complete year.
That's
so
crazy.
Like that is crazy. And like still I don't see the end in sight.
Me either.
What have you learned in the last 365 days?
Man, the first thing that I learned is like your plans, you can plan all you want, but it doesn't mean anything. When life happens, it happens. Like Do not get married to your plans. Like I
Yeah.
kid you not, 2021, it was like the year of 2020 vision, like all this stuff. Like when I tell you, like I had my goals, I just had all these things that I was believing for in
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
And March came and it was just like, all of that is trash. Like your dreams, your goals for this year. So if anything that I learned is while it is great to plan and prepare and have all these wonderful goals, like life can happen and just really derail those things. It can really change that stuff up. But to at the end of the day, remember who's in control. Like
Yes.
it is not you. No matter what, like it's not you. It's God who's in control. And another lesson that I learned is how important, like, even like I'm an introvert, so I was not too mad about the quarantine, if I could be honest. I was okay with it. Cancel plans that I don't have to cancel, like that is I was fine
Yeah.
with it. And I'm still fine with it, to
Still,
be
yes.
truthful. So that part was good for me. But also, even though I am an introvert, I feel like sometimes I operate as an extrovert. I always have stuff going on. So when I really didn't have anything going on, it just kind of forced me to just kind of sit and think, reevaluate some things, get closer to God, allow God to talk to me and let me know what I needed to take off my plate. So that is another big thing for me with 2020. Just so many revelations and things that I discovered, just not even about myself first and foremost, but then also just my relationship with God. It just took things to another level. And had it not been for the quarantine, the outbreak, I don't think I would have had I don't think I would have had that. So despite my plans being disrupted, I feel like God's plans kind of prevailed, which is what the Bible tells us anyway. So that was, for that, it was good.
Right. I have to agree with you on that. The one thing that I just kind of marvel at is the fact that the entire world, it didn't matter your status. It didn't matter, you know, Oprah was in the house just like I was.
Exactly.
You know, and it's just I just think when, you know, not to get all spiritual, but like ultimately we all will have to acknowledge one savior, you know what I mean, or not, but we all you know, we all have to.
That
and it's
is
just
real.
like that is a real thing that the country was at one level, you know. Sadly it was because of that, but if you think about it, like, that's crazy.
It was. Because it's not
That's
just one area. It was everybody, the whole world.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So let me ask you this. What are you most proud of as it relates to being a woman?
I am most proud of, I would say for me, just like the internal transformation I feel that has taken place. Like you mentioned, you know, the self-esteem issues, that was a very large part of my life. So from childhood up until early adulthood, I struggled with low self-esteem, insecurity. And during that time, I didn't even realize it. You know what I mean? So once I realized that this was something that I was bound by, something that was pretty much, you know, affecting every aspect of my life, it was like, oh my goodness, like I got to get over this. Like I got to deal with this. And just my ability to recognize the issue, acknowledge it, and then work, you know, do the work to overcome it, or do the work to basically to overcome it. I feel like that has applied, or I've applied that, or really it was the foundation for everything else I've been through in my adulthood. Currently now dealing with infertility and the grief of miscarriage, like that, being able to apply that to me was like my first transformation. Being able to apply that to everything else, I feel like that has been my greatest accomplishment. like
Mhm.
being able to allow God into my life and allow Him to show me, hey, this is an area that needs to change. This is an area I need to work on, and allowing Him to do that. I just feel like that's been my greatest accomplishment. Like, aside from me just allowing God to come in and do the work. So I feel like for me, that's been my greatest accomplishment because it's spilled over into so many other areas of my life.
Yeah, yeah. And it's so freeing, right?
It is.
Because
It
like
really is.
I mean, like you were saying, it just for me too, it just kept me so in bondage,
Yes.
basically. I
Yes.
mean, missing out on opportunities and
Hmm.
just not feeling confident to do anything. You know,
Yeah.
just and you have so much in you. Like I have had so
Yeah.
much in me that I just
Hmm.
felt like I was not
Yep.
capable. I wasn't worthy enough to do it. Like who,
Hmm.
why would you even think
Yes.
to do
Yes.
whatever? And so for me, I just it's very depressing,
It is.
because
It's
you
so
feel like
depressing.
right, God is still speaking to you about
Hmm.
what he wants you to do, but
Hmm.
then the enemy is like, nah, boo, that ain't
Yeah.
you
Yep.
can't do that. And so that battle is crazy.
It
And once you
is.
get over it, and once for me, one of the things that was tied to my self esteem was caring about what people thought.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
shy.
Don't care no more.
Let me tell you what I've learned. Maybe not just in 2020, but years before, is that the people who we think actually care or will have something to say are people who are bound themselves,
Yeah.
who are
Yep.
not free in themselves to be who they are. And so they put that
Hmm.
on you, or we think they're putting that on us, but they're
Yeah.
struggling just like we are, wanting
Correct.
to break out of their shell.
Correct.
So you can't
That is so true.
you cannot worry about what people say
It's
because they
so
look at you
true.
and think, oh, secretly, I wish
Hmm.
I could be that bold, or I wish I could,
Yep.
whatever. So
Hmm.
once I got over that, I'm
Yeah.
you
Like you
failing.
said, it's freeing. It's freeing. It's like, man, now I can finally be like, you feel like you're finally walking in purpose, or you're
Yeah.
finally can step into who God has created you to be when
Yes.
you let go of stuff you've told yourself, whether
Yes.
somebody else has told you or not. What you believe about yourself is what's gonna stick.
Yes.
Like, somebody can
Yes.
say, whatever they want, but if you don't believe it and you brush it off, then it is what it is. But what you tell yourself and what you believe, that is what sticks. So to be able to let go of that is just, like you said, it's freeing.
Yeah. It is. It really is. It really
Yep.
is. Um, so tell me, who is your inspiration? Who inspires Sherelle?
Man, I'm inspired by so many people for so many different things. For one, like you, my sis, like you are inspiring. You really are. I watch you, and I mean, just you can just see like your joy and your energy just radiate in whatever you do. You know what I mean? It's just so pure and authentic, and I love that. I mean, and of course, you have your people like Michelle Obama,
Yes. Yes.
Kamala Harris. Those people inspire me. My mom
Yes.
inspires me. My grandmother, she's no longer here, but I watched her from a little girl, like despite like she had different illnesses going on, but despite that, like she took care of her family. She had her small business. She used to make rolls and stuff, and people would come from church and different places to buy her rolls. And at one point she was not trying to sell them, but my family was like, you need to sell these. She'd just be making them up all night, making rolls, and they're like, sis, you need to sell this. But it was like she just found so much joy in doing
Right.
that, serving others. And that was probably like my earliest example of that, like somebody who is using their gift to serve others and just enjoying it and in her purpose. Like I just felt like that was my first example of that, my grandmother. So she inspired me from a young age. But yeah, so my grandma, my mom, you, then we got Michelle, Kamala, like there's so many boss women out here that are just doing it. Like I have a whole list, but that's who comes to mind.
Well,
Um,
first, let me interject. The fact that you put me in the list with Michelle Obama and like I mean,
You're amazing, girl. I seriously. And like you said, like we, have similar stories. So to
yeah,
see that, like, it's almost like, I don't know, like you're just cheering on your girl, like, man, she's walking her purpose. I know what
yeah,
she's been through, and here she is, like, just living it out. Like, that's exciting. Like
yeah.
that
It is exciting
inspires
because
and energizes me.
yeah, because remember that time I just out the just random text you and was like, "You are so dope." Like I
Yeah,
think I saw something on Instagram. I'm just like, she's just really dope, and she should know that.
I appreciate it.
So and I think it's also important for women to rally around each other and
Yes.
just encourage one another. I've been in um, situations or have had
Hmm.
experiences with other women who are not as
Hmm.
affirming and encouraging for their
Yeah.
own issue, and it's just not a good look. It's
It's
just not a
not.
good look. It's just not. And so I just want to I want to do my part on my level,
Yes.
and you know what I
Same.
mean. Just
Same.
I'm
If
just
I
trying to.
see some woman and she looks good in her Instagram post, I'm liking and I'm commenting, girl, you killing that outfit, or
Yeah.
sharing it. Or even my friends, when I see them walking in their purpose or doing something, I'm like, yes,
Yes.
come on.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it just brings me joy to like see that, because I remember for me what it was like, not, just basically living outside of my purpose. I
Right.
remember what that's like. So to see somebody outside of that, to see somebody walking in their purpose, confident and bold
Right.
and fearless and going after it, like, that is just encouraging and it's inspiring, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how do you envision like challenges that we have faced as a womanhood, like moving towards the future? Like we've come a long way, yes, but
Hmm.
what do you see as being some challenges that we as a community of women will face or have faced that we can kind of make a shift?
Yeah. So I think some of the challenges, two challenges have come to mind. So, as women, we, in the past, like, it wasn't always pushed, women entrepreneurs, women doing
Yeah.
their thing. We
Yes.
were just at home, cooking, cleaning. That
Hmm.
was it. Then, you kind of get into the workforce, but still, like, you were just really behind the man.
Right.
But now you see women making strides, taking steps, creating businesses, creating opportunities for other people, especially people of color. I've really seen that, especially with the emergence of social media. I've
Yeah.
connected with so many women who are bosses, you know what I mean? Women who are taking control of their lives and, really, like I said, walking in purpose. So that has been a challenge, just really overcoming, the typical role of a woman. And
Hmm.
another challenge that I feel like we're overcoming or starting to is, where women were often pitted against each other, where is this
Yeah.
cattiness, I don't want to see you win. Like this whole bickering back and forth. Like that's why I make it an effort for me to praise other women when I see
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
on social media or doing something. I just make that effort because, we have this thing that women are catty, women don't get along, backbiting, got, all of that. Like I feel like that has been a great challenge, but I'm starting to see more
Hmm.
and more women praise each other
Right.
rather
Right.
than tear each other down. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's still a climb. It's
Right.
still a challenge that we're going to still have to overcome. But I'm seeing that there's some progress being
Yeah.
made.
That's true. That is true. And that's one of the things that I really can agree with you on and want to
Hmm.
just encourage one another to just,
Right.
but you know what? Honestly, it just goes back to how they feel about themselves because
Yeah.
I often tell like young girls, young girls, I say, listen, if you if you feel it necessary to belittle your friend, what
Hmm.
does that say about you? If
Right.
you are happy with yourself, I'm not
Hmm.
going to say, XYZ that's negative to the next person. I'm just not
Mhm.
going to do it. For what?
Right.
If
Right.
I am totally, fully happy and secure with myself, that's just not
Mhm.
one of the attributes I would have. And so,
Right.
you know, we got to check ourselves.
Yeah.
We
We
got to
do.
check, where does
We
that come
do.
from? Why? You know.
Yep.
So as we wrap up, I have one last question. Again, everybody, this is Sherelle Gilbert of She Experienced. Um, my last question is, how do you, Sherelle, plan to make history in your world, in the world?
Mm. So I feel like I plan to make history and just continuing to, for me, like just normalize sharing your story.
Okay.
For me, that and that's really what She Experienced is all about, like sharing your story, sharing what you have been through or are going through, because I feel like everybody, well, this is just factual, but everybody on earth is going to struggle with something.
Mm-hmm.
We are not alone in our struggles. And I feel like when we share our stories, number one, it helps us to feel less isolated.
Yeah.
It enables other people to not only know what we're going through, but to pray for you. Um,
Yes.
and it's also, to me, for me, it has been freeing and therapeutic,
Mhm.
freeing in that I am not bound by this situation. Like, this situation is not going to have me in chains because I'm breaking my silence.
Right.
And also freeing in that, I free in Christ and being able to share what he is doing through me while I'm going through it.
Yeah.
So really just, I feel like me normalizing that, like even with my apparel, like I feel like they're conversation starters. So if your shirt says I'm strong and you see somebody in the store and they're like, hey, it's a nice shirt. What does that mean? Oh, it's from this Bible verse. And this is where
Mhm.
it's an intentional, and that it's a conversational starter to encourage people to start sharing what you're going through, what you've been through, or how you've overcome, and really just breaking those stigmas and those, talking about those taboo topics.
Yeah.
In particular, infertility and miscarriage are two things that aren't really talked about in the
Mhm.
African American community. And when I decided to talk about it, it was for that very reason, because it's not talked about, because I went searching on the internet and didn't see, the face of infertility is a white woman,
Yeah.
So I made a decision, and it came from God, really. I was obedient to what God was telling me to speak out and share my story while I was going through it. So I think I will make history
Yeah.
just
Sure.
basically normalizing sharing your story, not just after it's happened and after you got the testimony, but also while you're going through it.
Yeah, that's the shift though, because I have rarely seen anyone talk about whatever they're going through while they're in it. I,
Mm-hmm.
I no, I haven't.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
hadn't either.
so I'm gonna just say you are bold and very courageous, and I'm sure that it is very frightening. I'm
Definitely.
sure it's very, uncertain,
Mm-hmm.
to be to actually share each step of whatever, what you're going through. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
admirable. But we need it.
Thank you.
We need it. We need it because
Yeah.
there are people who are going through what you're going through right now too. So
Mm-hmm.
should they have to wait till you overcome before you
Yeah.
help them as they're
Exactly.
overcoming? Like,
Exactly.
yeah. So that's beautiful. That's very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, Sherelle, thank you so much for stopping by, inspired
Of
by Case
course.
One. I'm so happy you
Oh
decided to join
man.
us today.
Thank you for
So
having me.
yes, yes, yes. So listen, until next time, guys, I'll have some other guests joining me just to talk about womanhood, and just what it is to be a woman, and how, in all honesty, we carry the world. Okay?
Yes. So
It's just, it is
just
what
being
it is.
honest.
All right. Thanks, guys.